G'day, George here. It's pretty late at night, but I'm committed to give you my daily message of hope. So, 26th of March 2026, here we go. Alrighty. Recently, I read about a woman in the UK. She's over 50 years old. 2 years of looking for work. Guess what? 4,000 job applications. Let me repeat that again. 4,000 was the number. I've calculated that's about 5.5 applications per day, every day for 2 years straight. Wow. How did she do that? I've got no ideas. I mean, I get bored after sending one resume myself. Anyway, according to the report, she was still unemployed. And the mortgage lender has started sending letters. She believes, and I think she's probably right, that being over 50 makes you nearly invisible in certain hiring rooms. Yeah, perhaps that younger candidates are cheaper. That the grey hair, which ought to signal experience, it's being quietly reclassified as overhead perhaps? I don't know. I don't have the hard statistics to prove it. I don't know whether to be outraged or be unsurprised by it. Honestly, I think I'm feeling both. Now, I have my own suspicions about age discrimination in Australia. I can't prove them. But I think about the power plants that have shut down here in recent years. We're talking about experienced workers, right? People who spend decades learning something genuinely difficult. Because it is rocket science. And then they were let go. And if you ask, when the energy situation gets bad enough, I mean, we've got this crazy Iran war going on, right? When it gets bad enough that the government allows those plants to reopen, who exactly will run them? That knowledge doesn't get backed up anywhere, right? Because it's experience. It walks out the door with the person carrying it. I've got a computer program, so I can tell you. Think about COBOL. It's a programming language developed in the 1950s. Finance institutions, government departments, military systems, they still run it. It's a dinosaur system, but you can't kill it off. And they'll probably will run it for a long time to come. But you know what? It's no longer taught in most mainstream universities. So I'm guessing when the generation of programmers who will retire, I'm pretty sure they will one day, who will exactly replace them? Very few people, I imagine. And you don't learn that in 6 weeks, not a short course. And from my time working in Singapore, I've noticed elderly workers, it's different, right? Well, they pass the age where most people picture themselves still on the clock. They're at the counters in fast food restaurants. I don't know the individual stories, whether necessity brought them there or preference or something else entirely, I don't know. But they showed up to work. And I do know the Singapore government, much to their credit, runs active retraining programs for the older and the unemployed workers. So these workers, they've made a choice explicitly. And the employers, their experience is a resource to invest in, not a cost to manage away. Okay? I hear in Japan they also the whole company fight to stay to keep their job. Very different culture. Now here's what the Job said about this. Job chapter 12 verse 12. He says, wisdom is with the aged and understand in length of days. So he didn't talk about speed, didn't talk about adaptability to the newest platform, didn't talk about being cheap. No, it focused on wisdom, understanding, the kind that comes from living through enough winters to recognize what winter actually looks like when it arrives. That cannot be easily replaced, surely. In many cases, the power plant, the COBOL system, the hard-won institutional knowledge, it cannot be replaced at all. It has to be grown again from scratch, over decades perhaps, while hoping you don't need it urgently in the meantime. Oh boy. And I don't think God ever intended experience to be treated as disposable. You see, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, God placed the man in the garden to work it and keep it. I think it's a beautiful image there. I wonder what it's like when Adam was tending the garden. What did it look like? So work isn't a consequence of the fall, it predates it. So keep that as the fact. It was always the design. God created human beings with the capacity to contribute and the expectation that they would. That doesn't stop at 50, right? Assuming you got great health. And here's a conversation I actually want to have today. Because this is a channel about money, and a woman in the UK is facing a financial crisis, not just a career one. The mortgage letters have started arriving. And there's a question I can't shake about her story. What would have been different for her mental state, for her negotiating position, for the quality of decisions she's been forced to make across 2 years? If she had 3, even better, 12 months of living expenses sitting in an accessible account before any of this began, who knows what will happen? Now, I'm not asking that carelessly. I know what financial breathing room does in a crisis. I know because I felt its presence. And I've seen it up close what its presence does to people. Yeah, I've been there before, retrenched. Not a nice feeling. Oh, and by the way, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe to this channel and share the video, especially people who may feel they might be getting retrenched soon. Like I said, I was made redundant once, more than once. It was a formal process, a meeting I didn't see coming on the morning it arrived. Yeah, the company had decided to outsource the work overseas because it was cheaper. They didn't say it in that way, but that's business these days. What I do remember about that day isn't the meeting itself. Yes, I mean it was, but it wasn't the most significant. It's what came before it. The emergency fund was there. Not enormous, but present, and it was enough. It was time for me to activate it soon. Yes, I was disappointed because I wanted to continue to work. Honestly, I was a little bit bruised, but not in free fall, not making frantic decisions, not already behind on a mortgage because I had time to update my resume. I didn't have a mortgage. I was free. And here's the thing about being made redundant with an emergency fund versus without one. The external circumstances are identical. The job is going out either way. The discriminatory hiring practice, if that's what it is, that wouldn't change. The structural problem is the same. But what changes is what the crisis does to you. Whatever you can afford to wait for the right fit, or whether desperation forces your hand. Whether you walk into an interview with quiet steadiness or with barely a concealed panic of someone whose lender has already started sending letters. Yeah. Here's another verse I want to talk about. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 12. The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. The prudent sees danger and hides himself. Not the certainty of the redundancy. It's not the guarantee of discrimination, but it's just the honest recognition that the world contains risk. And that's a season of difficulty. It's not a theoretical possibility for the most working people across their working life. It is a near certainty in this day and age. Because industry restructure, companies will certainly outsource, skill become obsolete, the job market shifts in ways that have nothing to do with your performance or your character. Hey, the prudent person does not wait for the confirmation before preparing. That isn't pessimism, that's wisdom in action. Again, 3 to 6 months of living expenses, sitting somewhere accessible and liquid in your account. Not invested, okay? Not locked away in superannuation, not earmarked for anything. It's going to be boring and glamorous, but it's there. Completely exciting right up until the moment is not exciting, where you need to activate it. Now, I know that sounds daunting if you're starting from zero, but don't fill the storehouse in a single afternoon. You can't. The ant doesn't either, right? The ant is consistent. Week after week, a little more, and eventually the storehouse holds enough. My friends, I want to come back to that woman in the UK. 4,000 applications, that's an astronomical figure. The determination in that number is genuinely extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, I take my hat off for her. Whatever else is true about her situation, she has not stopped, and that counts for something. But I find myself wondering, somewhere in these 2 years, has she had to say yes to something she didn't want to, or no to something she did? Because the financial pressure let her no room to wait, isn't it? Has the desperation in the bank account been showing up in a cover letter, in the interview, in the choices she's been forced to make? Remember what I said? The prudent sees danger and hides himself. Here's a question I want you to answer. Not in the abstract and not next week, please. This week. How many months of living expenses do you have accessible right now? Not invested money, not locked away. If everything changed tomorrow, how many weeks? And that's the number the title of this video promised you. It's not a formula, not a guarantee against hard seasons. Just that number. The one that determines whether a crisis becomes a catastrophe or setback. If you know it and it's solid, good on you. Thumbs up. Here you go. If you don't know it, okay, find out. Find out this week. Because the best time to peel that fund is before the meeting gets called, before the lender's letter arrives, before you sent the first 4,000 application and the clock is already running. Because the danger doesn't send a warning. It just arrives. All right, I think it's time to hit the bed. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.